All right, welcome to The Explainer. Now, let me ask you something. What if the biggest truths out there aren't hiding on some remote mountaintop, but are right here, smack in the middle of a totally normal Tuesday? That's what we're going to find out today with the help of three pretty incredible minds. So, to start, I want you to imagine a garden. But as the slide says, this isn't a metaphor. It's a real place, a place where ideas grow, a place where we're going to meet our guides for today. And what is this garden, really? Well, it's the mind. It's consciousness itself. So for our first part, we're going to explore this garden of consciousness and meet the three very different people who've tried to map it out. Okay, so who are these guys? First up, we've got Zhuangzi, this ancient Taoist master, who, get this, we're not even 100% sure was a real person. Then there's Alan Watts, the 20th century philosopher who basically made Eastern philosophy cool and accessible in the West. And finally, Terence McKenna, a modern-day ethnobotanist who dove into the deep end of consciousness with, let's say, a radical intensity. Now, to keep all these huge ideas from floating away, we're going to follow a guy named Z. Think of him as our stand-in, our everyman. He's just waking up on a Tuesday morning, right in that fuzzy, quiet moment of just being there, before the whole story of me and my day comes crashing in. And you know that feeling, right? It turns out scientists say that little gap lasts for about 4 seconds, on average. 4 seconds. It's this little slice of unrecognized freedom, you know? The space between dreaming and being fully awake, before all our worries and to-do lists and our very identity snaps back into place. Okay, so a little later that morning, our guy Z is just standing at his kitchen window. And a super simple, everyday moment in his garden, well, it's about to lead us to one of the biggest philosophical questions of all time. Z is just watching this little white butterfly, right? Just flitting from flower to flower. And in that moment, he finds himself, and really, we find ourselves, right inside this ancient, mind-bending question from Zhuangzi about what reality even is. So here's the famous quote. But you know what? There's a part here that almost everyone misses. Zhuangzi says he was conscious only of my happiness as a butterfly. See, it's not just about the confusion of, am I a man or a butterfly? The real point, the secret sauce, is the bliss of it. The joy of just being fully present without the baggage of who you think you are. Now, our other two thinkers, Watts and McKenna, they looked at this same dream and saw totally different things. For Alan Watts, it was all about liberation within your identity. You can be the man and the butterfly, right? But for Terence McKenna, this was like hard proof. Proof that our consciousness can literally visit other realities, totally different dimensions of being. So Watts saw this beautiful philosophical idea, but McKenna, he saw evidence. And that brings us straight to his favorite tool for kicking open those doors of perception, the psilocybin mushroom. McKenna's whole argument was that this is no accident. The fact that this molecule from a fungus fits so perfectly into our brain's serotonin receptors, he thought it was co-evolution, that the human mind and the mushroom basically grew up together, with the fungus acting as this incredible catalyst for language, for art, for everything that makes us human. And he even mapped out the experience. It starts with what he called the come-up, where everything just becomes hyper-real, super vivid. Then comes the opening, where the lines between you and the world start to get a little blurry. And finally, if you take what he called a heroic dose, you hit the deep, and the self just dissolves. Gone. And this is where things get really wild. This is McKenna's most radical idea. He said that when your ego, your sense of self, completely disappears, the space it leaves behind isn't empty, not at all. He reported finding it filled with these intelligent, communicating beings, entities, that felt totally, completely separate from his own mind.
So what's the big takeaway here? What's the punchline to this whole cosmic journey? Whether you get there by quietly watching a butterfly or, through other means, what's the fundamental truth that these experiences are pointing to?
Well, think about it. From the day we're born, we're basically told that life is a big search, a quest, right? You got to find your meaning, find your purpose, improve yourself, become a better person. You're always trying to get from here to there. But what if that entire idea, that whole project of self-improvement, is built on a giant misunderstanding? What if you've been looking for something you've had the whole time? This right here, this is what Alan Watts famously called the cosmic joke. And the punchline, the one that can just completely shift your world, is that the thing you've been so desperately searching for is the thing that's doing the searching in the first place. And let's be clear, the joke isn't making fun of you. It's not that you're foolish. It's this beautiful, simple, profound revelation. You're already there. You've always been there. The whole process of seeking was the experience you were after. And that nagging feeling, that gap between who you are and who you think you should be, it's just a little story your ego tells itself to keep its job.
Okay, so you get the joke, awesome. But the seeking doesn't just switch off, right? The mind keeps going. So how do we actually live with this? How do we take this huge idea and bring it back to, well, back to our ordinary Tuesday? There's this great Zen saying. You've probably heard it. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The point is, on the outside, absolutely nothing has to change. So the goal here isn't to reach some permanent state of Zen-like bliss where nothing ever bothers you again. That's not it at all. The real practice is actually so much simpler. It's just noticing when your mind is wandered off, and then gently, without any judgment, bringing it back to right now. You do it 10,000 times a day if you have to. And this is it. This is the practice of Tuesday. It's bringing your full, unnarrated, loving attention to your regular life. The taste of your coffee, that's the Tao. The little ping from a scheduling notification, that's Buddha nature. It's about finding the absolute profound in the totally mundane. And that, right there, is really the whole point of this journey. The cosmic joke and the amazing freedom that comes with it is just realizing you are already home. You were never lost. So the only real question left is, how are you going to inhabit your Tuesday?